Let me begin today by saying something that might sound a little startling. No one is your friend. Now, I know that's a heavy statement. It might even sound like I'm being negative, but I promise you, I'm not here to make you feel alone or discouraged. I'm here to help you unlock a deeper truth, one that can lead you to more peace, more freedom, and a stronger sense of who you are. When I say, no one is your friend, I don't mean that you're unloved. I don't mean that people don't care about you. What I'm saying is that no one will ever fully understand your heart the way you do. No one will carry your vision, your pain, your growth, your calling like you will. And when you stop expecting them to, something powerful happens. You stop feeling disappointed, you stop feeling rejected, and you start finding peace. There is a quiet kind of strength that rises up in us when we realize that our journey is ours alone, that the validation we've been waiting for, the applause we've been hoping to herb, the understanding we've been yearning for. It doesn't have to come from out there. It can come from within. You don't need others to approve you to be worthy. You don't need them to agree with you to be right. You don't need them to walk with you to keep moving forward, because what God put in you is not dependent on who stands beside you. It's rooted in who sent you. And He hasn't brought you this far to leave you now. So often, we become exhausted not because life is too hard, but because we're carrying expectations that don't belong to us. We expect people to show up the way we show up. We expect them to care as deeply as we care. We expect them to stay as loyal as we are. And when they don't, it shakes us. It hurts. But friend, what if I told you that their failure to meet your expectations is not a reflection of your worth? It's a reflection of their capacity. Sometimes people just can't meet you where you are. It's not that they don't love you. It's that they're distracted, they're busy, they're dealing with their own fears and insecurities. And when you place your peace in their hands, you're handing over your power. It's time to take it back, because you are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to live your truth. And not everyone is meant to go with you. Not everyone is meant to get it. That doesn't make you wrong. That doesn't make them bad. It just means the path you're walking was designed for your feet. There will be times, maybe you've already lived through some, when you're standing alone, no phone calls, no affirmations, no support. Just you, your thoughts, your doubts, and your faith. But those moments are not punishment. They are preparation. God uses the silence to teach us how to hear His voice. He uses the isolation to grow us, to shape us, to build our resilience. Think about Jesus for a moment. Even He had to walk alone. In the garden, at His most vulnerable hour, His closest disciples, those He had poured into, love-led, they fell asleep on Him not once but 3 times. And at the cross, the same crowd that once shouted Hosanna now yelled, crucify Him. Judas betrayed Him. Peter denied Him. The rest scattered. But Jesus didn't quit His mission because people failed Him. He knew who He was. He knew where He came from. And He knew who sent Him. That's the same assurance you can walk in. You may not have many cheering for you. You may not have people who truly understand the weight of what you're carrying. But you're not doing it alone. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is within you. That means you have a power inside of you that is greater than any human approval. Maybe you've been waiting on someone to show up and rescue you. Maybe you've been silently hoping that someone would recognize your value, stand by you, choose you, believe in you. But I want you to hear, Meg, you are the one you've been waiting for. You are the one who has to believe. You are the one who has to choose yourself. You are the one who has to say, I'm still going to rise, even if no one lifts me. The moment you stop depending on others for your confidence is the moment you start walking in divine strength. And yes, people may misunderstand you. They may walk away. They may not call. They may never come back. But God never left, and He never will. That's why you can rest. That's why you don't have to chase people to feel whole, because your peace was never meant to come from them. It was meant to come from the one who made you, from the one who knit you together, who breathed purpose into you, who says, "You are mine." You are never truly alone, even when the room is empty, even when the texts go unanswered, even when the silence is loud. There is a presence with you that does not leave, a love that does not change, a friend who sticks closer than a brother, and he is whispering to your soul, even now you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not abandoned. It's time to stop searching for peace out there and start uncovering it in here. It's time to sit with yourself and remember that your own voice matters, that your presence is valuable, that your soul deserves kindness even from you, especially from you. You don't have to wait for someone to clap for you to celebrate yourself. You don't have to wait for someone to see you to be visible. You don't have to wait for someone to love you to feel lovable. The love you've been looking for, it's already in you. It's already around you. It's already holding you. This is your moment to shift your mindset from loneliness to solitude, from fear to faith, from seeking outward approval to resting in inward peace. You are becoming your own friend. You are learning to enjoy your own company. You are hearing the voice of God in the stillness. And with every step you take alone, you're not weakening, you're strengthening. So no, maybe no one is your friend the way you want them to be. Maybe they don't check in like you hoped. Maybe they don't understand your heart. But that doesn't mean you're broken. That means you're being called deeper. You're being invited into a place where your peace is not dependent on circumstance, where your confidence is not shaken by absence, where your joy is not attached to whether people show up or not. Let that truth settle in your spirit. Let it calm your anxious thoughts. Let it remind you, you're not waiting to be chosen. You already are. You're not waiting to be seen. You're already known. You're not waiting for permission to be great. God already gave you the green light. Walk in that. Stand tall in that. And don't be afraid of the silence. Don't be afraid of the empty seats. Don't be afraid when they don't understand, because you understand, and that's enough. You've got God. You've got yourself. And together, that's more than enough to thrive. There comes a moment in your life where you stop asking why people changed. You stop asking why they didn't stay. You stop replaying the memories, the laughter, the warmth that used to be, and wondering where it all went. Because deep in your heart, you begin to understand it was never about them. It was always about your growth. The truth is, people come into your life for reasons you may not see at the time. Some walk with you for a season, others just for a moment. And then there are those who walk away when you need them the most. But even their absence is part of your unfolding. It hurts when people leave. Let's not pretend it doesn't. It hurts when you show up for someone over and over, only to realize they would never do the same for you. It hurts when you remember how close you used to be, how safe it felt, only to wake up one day to silence. It's confusing. It feels personal. But it's not a reflection of your value. It's a redirection of your growth. Sometimes God removes people not because they're bad, but because they can't go where He's taking you. They were a part of your history, not your destiny. And when you try to drag someone into a future they were never built for, you don't just slow yourself down, you suffer. Because you keep looking back. You keep wondering what you did wrong. You keep trying to reopen a door that God, in His mercy, has already closed. You can't walk into peace with your heart anchored in the past. You can't move forward if you keep sitting at tables where you're no longer fed. And you can't heal if you keep hoping for an explanation that may never come. Some people will walk away without giving you closure. Some friends will disappear quietly. Some relationships will end in confusion without a final conversation, without a clean goodbye. And that too is okay. It doesn't mean you were foolish. It means you loved with an open heart. And that's something to honor, not regret. Let yourself be free from the need to understand everything. Sometimes the healing comes not from the answers, but from the release. Release the need to make it make sense. Release the habit of blaming yourself. Release the urge to keep knocking on closed doors. There is peace in letting go, and there is strength in surrender, and there is wisdom in realizing that not everyone has the capacity to hold you the way you hold them. See, when you begin to mature emotionally, you stop assigning permanent titles to temporary people. You stop calling everyone family just because you felt a deep connection. You stop believing that someone's consistency today guarantees their loyalty tomorrow. And yet, this isn't bitterness. This isn't cynicism. This is clarity. This is knowing that not everyone is meant to stay. This is recognizing that the more you grow, the more you will outgrow. You will outgrow conversations that used to excite you. You'll outgrow the need to prove yourself. You'll outgrow the need to be understood. And most of all, you'll outgrow the belief that friendship means forever. Because real friendship isn't proven by time, it's proven by presence. Not presence in the good times, when everything is easy, but presence in the silence, in the struggle, in the not so beautiful parts of your journey. And if no one stands with you in those places, if no one calls, no one notices, no one offers a hand, then let that teach you something sacred. Let that become a moment of awakening, not to harden you, but to heal you, because what's happening in that loneliness is not abandonment. It's transformation. You're learning to stand without applause. You're learning to love without needing it to be returned. You're learning to value your own voice when the room is quiet. You're learning to walk through the fire without waiting for a rescue. And in that space, something holy is being born in you. A quiet resilience, a deeper knowing, a steady peace that isn't shaken by who shows up and who doesn't. There's a passage in the Psalms that says, "Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me." That means even when the people closest to you, even those you counted on, walk away, God still holds you. You are received. You are kept. You are not alone. And when you stop trying to fill your loneliness with people, you make room for something eternal. You begin to discover the richness of God's friendship. You realize that His presence isn't loud, but it's constant. It doesn't flood you with noise. It whispers to your soul. It doesn't rush. It remains. Some of the deepest healing comes not from being surrounded by many, but from being seen by one, the one who made you, the one who knows you, the one who doesn't need explanations to understand your tears. And in that quiet place, you begin to discover your own heart again. You begin to hear your own voice. You begin to recognize how much energy you've been spending chasing love, proving your worth, trying to hold on to people who were already letting go. And little by little, you start to reclaim your power. You stop chasing love. You start becoming love. You stop begging for attention. You start giving yourself attention. You stop waiting for them to come back. You start moving forward. Peacefully, powerfully, prayerfully. You begin to show up for yourself the way you wish they would have. You start saying things to your own soul that you once needed to hear from others. Says, "I see you. I'm proud of you. You're doing better than you think. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are enough." And when you begin to speak to yourself like that, when you begin to parent your own heart, you stop depending on the world to raise you. You grow into yourself. You grow into your peace. And no, not everyone will applaud that. Not everyone will understand why you've changed, why you no longer overextend yourself, why you no longer say yes just to keep the peace, why you no longer chase people who ignore you. But you'll understand. You'll understand that the healing required separation. You'll understand that protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's holy. You'll understand that letting go wasn't loss. It was liberation. And slowly you'll start to enjoy the stillness. You'll start to trust it. You'll stop fearing the quiet moments and begin to welcome them. Because you'll know that the stillness isn't empty. It's full. Full of truth. Full of clarity. Full of God. So don't be discouraged when the crowd thins out. Don't panic when the texts slow down. Don't mourn the people who don't check in. Thank them. Honor the role they played, But bless yourself by releasing the need for them to play it forever. They came. They served a purpose. And now you continue because this journey is not about being liked. It's about being led by peace, led by purpose, led by the quiet voice of God that says, I'm still here. You're still mine. And the best is still ahead. There's a shift that happens deep within your spirit when you stop expecting others to carry what only you were meant to hold. You begin to feel lighter, not because the load disappeared, but because your mindset did. You stop looking outward for strength and begin digging inward. And in that quiet turning, something sacred is born. You realize that not everyone will clap when you grow. Not everyone will stay when you rise. Sometimes the people you cheered for the loudest will go silent when it's your turn. And it used to hurt. You used to wonder why. You used to shrink yourself just to make others comfortable. You used to dim your light so they wouldn't feel small. But now you understand. You understand that your light isn't meant to be hidden. You weren't created to keep peace at the cost of your purpose. You weren't made to beg for belonging. You were made to stand, even if it means standing alone. That's not pride, that's clarity. And you've paid a price to get here. You've walked through silent seasons. You've loved people who couldn't love you back. You've been the strong one in every room, the shoulder for everyone else. You've sat in the dark and prayed for light. And slowly you began to see what you thought was rejection was redirection. What you thought was abandonment was alignment. God wasn't punishing you. He was preparing you. You're learning to walk through life without constantly looking over your shoulder, checking who's still with you. You're no longer trying to prove your worth to people who were never capable of recognizing it. You're no longer trying to explain your heart to those who only ever saw your surface. Because when you truly begin to heal, you stop needing others to understand the path God has you on. Some people will misunderstand you. They'll label your distance as arrogance. They'll confuse your peace for pride. They'll say you've changed without ever realizing how much pain it took to get here. But you don't have to defend your growth. Let them misunderstand. Let them wonder why you're not who you used to be. You've done enough explaining in the past. You've over-justified, overshared, overgiven. Now it's time to simply live, to walk with quiet confidence, to stand in your own healing without needing a crowd to clap for it. Because healing isn't loud. Growth isn't flashy. True transformation is quiet. It's sitting with your own soul and finally telling the truth. It's no longer waiting for closure from others. Because you've learned to give it to yourself. It's no longer needing apologies, because you've decided to forgive even when no one asked. There's something powerful about choosing peace over the need to be right. There's freedom in choosing your mental health over your ego. And there's strength in walking away from drama, even if it means walking alone. You're beginning to recognize that your peace is too expensive to be sacrificed for temporary connections. You're starting to notice how your body reacts in certain rooms, how your spirit feels around certain people. And you're trusting that. You're honoring that. You're no longer betraying yourself just to belong. And that's the beginning of mastery, emotional mastery. When you stop reacting to everything and start responding with wisdom. When you stop lashing out because you're hurt and start leaning in because you're healed. When you no longer need to control others to feel safe within yourself, that's when you begin to carry peace. Not just for a moment, but as a way of life. You stop chasing closure. You start creating it. You stop begging for reassurance. You start becoming your own affirmation. You stop running from the silence. You start finding God in it. And when that shift happens, when your identity is no longer wrapped in who left, or who didn't text back, or who failed to show up, then you're finally free. Not just free from people, but free from the expectations that kept you bound. It's not that you don't love anymore, you do. But you love with wisdom. You give with discernment. You show up without losing yourself. Because you've learned the hard way that not everyone deserves access to your deepest parts. Your heart is sacred. Your time is sacred. Your energy is sacred. And not everyone will treat it that way. That doesn't make them evil. But it does mean you have a responsibility to protect your space, to guard your peace, and to honor the work God is doing in you. You're not the same person you were when you started this journey. You've outgrown places you used to call home. You've healed from things you never thought you'd survive. And though you still carry some scars, those scars have become proof, not of your pain, but of your power. Because look at you now. You've walked through storms and kept going. You've sat in rooms filled with silence and still chose to smile. You've felt the weight of loneliness and still stood tall. That's not weakness. That's resilience. And while others may not see the battles you fought, God does. He sees every silent tear, every sleepless night, every whispered prayer. He sees how you keep showing up even when it hurts. And He honors that. So don't underestimate the strength it takes to be you. To keep loving after loss. To keep trusting after betrayal. To keep dreaming after disappointment. To keep standing when no one claps. There is power in that kind of perseverance. And even if no one notices, heaven does. You're not walking alone. Even when no one reaches out. Even when you feel forgotten, you are held. You are guided. You are being led by something bigger than friendship, deeper than approval. You're being led by grace. And grace doesn't always give explanations. It gives peace. A peace that doesn't make sense. Peace that stays when others leave. Peace that passes understanding but never passes away. So rest in that. Let it wrap around you like a warm blanket. Let it sound the ache of abandonment. Let it remind you that you were never alone. You were just being stripped of everything that was distracting you from your true source. You don't need the world to understand your calling. You just need the courage to walk in it. One step at a time. One breath at a time. One prayer at a time. And along the way, if no one joins you, keep walking. If no one affirms you, keep believing. If no one supports you, keep building. Because the promise isn't that everyone will come with you. The promise is that God will never leave you. And that's more than enough. There's a moment in your journey when you stop waiting for others to validate the path you've chosen. You stop asking for agreement. You stop looking for applause. And instead, you start listening to the still, small voice inside you. The one that's been guiding you all along. The one that whispers peace when the world around you is loud. The one that reminds you, you're not lost. You're being led. And in that quiet confidence, you no longer need to be surrounded to feel supported. You no longer need the safety of the crowd to feel secure in your calling. You've learned how to walk with God in the unseen places. You've learned to find strength in solitude. And that is a beautiful kind of power because it cannot be taken away. There was a time when you needed constant reassurance. A time when someone not texting back made you question your worth. A time when being left out made you feel less than. But you're not that person anymore. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You grew. You got tired of tying your value to how others treated you. You got tired of measuring your worth based on who stayed and who left. And so you let go. You stopped chasing people who were never meant to stay. You stopped trying to earn love that should have been freely given. You stopped blaming yourself for the ways others failed to show up. And in that release, you began to heal. That's the sacred shift. That's where peace lies. Not in having everyone around you, but in being fully present with yourself. It's a quiet peace. It doesn't demand. It doesn't shout. It simply sits with you right where you are. And it tells you the truth. That you are not behind, that you are not forgotten, that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You see, some seasons are designed to be quiet. Some chapters are meant for rebuilding. Not everything is about forward motion or outward success. Some of the most important work you will ever do is invisible. No audience, no celebration, just you, God, and the choice to keep going. There is deep spiritual growth that happens in the silence. There's transformation in the stillness. When the world is no longer distracting you and you're no longer trying to prove anything. That's when you begin to truly meet yourself. You begin to hear what your heart has been trying to say all along. I'm tired, I'm healing, I'm worthy, I'm enough. And when you honor those words, when you believe them, you begin to treat yourself differently. You begin to protect your energy. You begin to choose peace over performance. You begin to walk away not with bitterness, but with quiet wisdom. Not everyone is meant to go with you. That doesn't make them wrong. It just means their part in your story is complete. And that's okay. You bless them, you thank them, and then you move forward. You don't need to chase closure from people who don't have the capacity to give it. You don't need to reopen wounds trying to understand why someone stopped loving you. You don't need to revisit every memory, analyzing where it went wrong. Let it go. Let the unanswered questions stay unanswered. Let the silence be the closure. Let the love you gave be enough, even if it wasn't returned, because your healing doesn't come from their explanation. It comes from your decision to choose peace over pain, your decision to forgive without an apology, your decision to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even offer you a bandage. There's power in that kind of choice, quiet, steady power, and it begins to change how you see the world. You start to notice who drains you and who restores you. You begin to crave calm over chaos. You stop settling for conversations that feel heavy and start seeking those that feel safe. You start saying no without guilt. You stop making excuses for people's bad behavior. You stop over-explaining your boundaries just to make someone else comfortable. Because you've learned that protecting your peace is your responsibility. No one else can do it for you. Not everyone is your friend, and that's not a tragedy. It's a truth, and truth brings freedom. Friendship isn't built on convenience. It's built on consistency. It's not about who stands with you at the celebration. It's about who kneels beside you in the storm. And sometimes when the storm hits, you realize just how few people are willing to get wet with you. But even then, you are not alone. God never leaves you in the storm. He walks with you through it. When others abandon you, He draws near. When the phone doesn't ring, His presence does. When your heart aches, His peace steadies you. And that is where the deepest friendships are formed. Not with people, but with God, with yourself, with the version of you that is learning to love without fear, to trust without proof, and to walk by faith, not by sight. You begin to walk differently, not rushing, not dragging others with you. You just moving forward with purpose. You no longer need to be seen to feel worthy. You no longer need applause to keep going. You no longer need to explain your boundaries, your silence, your shift, because you know what it cost to get here. You know the tears it took, the sleepless nights, the prayers no one saw. And when you carry that kind of self-knowing, the world can't shake you. People can misunderstand you, and you stay grounded. They can leave and you stay steady. They can gossip, assume, criticize, and still you choose peace because you know who you are. You know whose you are. And you know where you're going. You're not looking back. You're waiting on those who couldn't appreciate you the first time. You're not begging for a seat at tables where you had to shrink yourself to fit. You're building new tables, peace, purposeful ones. Ones where your soul is safe and your voice is heard. And if no one joins you, if no one understands, then still you rise, still you walk. Still, you trust that what's ahead is greater than what's behind. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not too much. You are chosen. You are held. You are becoming. One silent victory at a time. One private healing at a time. One uncelebrated breakthrough at a time. And even if the world never sees it, heaven does. There's a sacred peace that comes when you finally stop chasing after things that were never yours to begin with. You no longer rush to fix what's broken if it keeps cutting your hands. You no longer pled for a place in hearts that only saw you as optional. You no longer lose sleep over silence that once terrified you, because now silence has become your sanctuary. This is the fruit of the journey. Not loud celebration, not everyone suddenly returning to say, I see your worth now. No, it's quieter than that, more intimate. It's you standing alone but not lonely. It's you no longer questioning your reflection in the mirror. It's you praying not for people to come back, but for your own heart to remain soft, steady, and strong. This is where emotional mastery is born, not in pretending you're unbothered, not in building walls, but in allowing what hurt you to shape you without hardening you, in feeling deeply without falling apart, in grieving the loss of people who meant everything, while still choosing to move forward with grace. It doesn't mean you don't still love them. It doesn't mean the memories don't come back sometimes like waves. It simply means you've stopped trying to swim in places where you almost drowned. You've stopped trying to resurrect what God allowed to rest. You've stopped trying to make broken things whole again with your own bare hands. You trust now. You trust that whatever left did not leave by accident. You trust that what didn't grow with you wasn't meant to go with you. You trust that God removes before He restores, that He prunes before He promotes, that He empties your life not to punish you, but to prepare you. And the emptiness, it doesn't scare you like it used to. It's not loneliness anymore. It's clarity, it's space, it's a fresh page in the story of your life. And this time you're holding the pen. You're no longer writing roles for people who keep exiting the stage. You're no longer begging characters to stay who only ever showed up for a scene. You've realized now some people were never meant to walk with you forever. They were lessons, mirrors, catalysts. And now that their part is completed, you thank them, you bless them, and you walk forward with a lighter heart. Because growth isn't always about addition. Sometimes it's about subtraction. Sometimes it's about what you release, not what you gain. And when you let go of who they were, you make room for who you're becoming. You stop seeking revenge. You stop needing recognition. You stop holding on to stories that keep wounding you in the retelling. Instead, you breathe. You forgive. You whisper prayers of release. And you begin again. Not because it's easy, but because your soul deserves peace more than your pride deserves a win. This is where true strength lies. Not in how many followers you have, not in how many people still reach out, but in how deeply rooted you've become in your own peace. In how calmly you can say, "They may not have been my friend, but I am my own friend now." You've become your own comforter, your own encourager, your own advocate. And that is not sadness, that is self-respect. That is healing, that is rising. You are no longer trying to be everything to everyone. You've stopped emptying yourself just to feel included. You've stopped abandoning your own needs just to be seen. You've started choosing yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a sacred one, the way you always should have. And now your yes is holy, your no is firm, your peace is non-negotiable. Your time is precious. Your energy is guarded because you've finally learned the value of what you carry. You've stopped giving away what costs you everything to people who treat it like nothing. You're no longer afraid to walk alone. In fact, you've found that some of your most powerful seasons are the ones where no one claps, no one checks in, no one notices, and yet you're blooming anyway. You're growing in silence, thriving in private, healing without an audience. And that is a different kind of victory. It doesn't come with fanfare, but it comes with freedom. You're free now. Free from the version of you that always needed approval. Free from the wounds that kept reopening every time someone walked away. Free from the endless loops of what if and why not. You're walking lighter, laughing more, worrying less, and trusting deeply, quietly, unwaveringly that God has never left your side, even when others did, even when the friends you trusted walked away, even when the people you loved the most became strangers, even when you cried in silence, wondering if anyone saw you. He did. He always did. And He's not finished with you, not even close. What you've lost doesn't compare to what's being prepared. The empty spaces in your life, they're not voids, they're invitations. Invitations for new peace, new purpose, new people who see you fully, love you deeply, and walk with you faithfully, not because of what you give, but because of who you are. So stay open, stay tender, stay hopeful. You don't have to become cold to protect yourself. You don't have to stop loving just because you were let down. You don't have to build higher walls. You just need stronger boundaries. Let love find you again. Let joy surprise you. Let peace anchor you. Because in the end, it was never about how many friends you had. It was about who you became when no one was watching. It was about how you grew when no one stayed. It was about how you stood quietly, courageously, when everything familiar fell away, and you're still standing. That alone is a miracle. So, if no one ever tells you you're doing better than you think, you are healing in ways you can't yet see, you are becoming someone your younger self would be proud of. You are walking into a future that doesn't look like your past. And even if no one else understands the journey, you do. You've lived it. You've felt every ache, prayed through every storm, held yourself in every dark night. You've done the inner work. You've honored your pain. You've released what was no longer meant for you. And now you rise in peace, in clarity, in strength. No one is your friend, maybe not in the way you once hoped, but you found a better friend in yourself, a deeper love in God, a more lasting peace in your own spirit. And that's more than enough.